on a Sunday afternoon, and I walked up to the bicycle salesman, and I told him that I needed a bike because I planned on riding from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh. He seemed happy because now there's somebody new getting a bicycle, and he was going to make some money. He took me over to the Schwinn Deluxe Latour. There were two colors. There was a green and a blue. I thought I went with the green because I always liked that color. And then he said, well, you're going to need some touring bags. And with that, he pulled out four, two to go on the front and two to go on the back. He sold me some extra tubes in case I got a flat tire. I got a pump with it, and I bought one water bottle. When he asked when I planned on leaving and how much training I had been doing, I told him, well, I'm leaving tomorrow. I hadn't done any training, although I had cut back on smoking cigarettes. He looked concerned, but not so concerned that he wouldn't take my credit card and run it and then have me sign. And he said, well, good luck, as I opened the door and Jingly Bell played as I walked out. I then I included my brother in the plan, and I called him and I asked him if he remembered it.
Well, what do I remember about this? Let me try. I guess the most interesting thing is that neither you nor I thought it was that different, but in retrospect, it was. So you had been accepted to Carnegie Mellon, which is in Pennsylvania, near Pittsburgh. And we lived outside of Philadelphia, so this is about a 6-hour, 7-hour car ride. And you decided, and I don't know why, but a couple of days before you were going to leave, that you would buy a bike and ride it from outside of Philadelphia to Carnegie Mellon. But for some reason, you wanted to start not at home. You could have gotten on your bike and started right off our driveway, but you needed a ride for some reason. And I guess to lure me, you said you'd buy me breakfast. So we went to some place to have breakfast. I think it was Manella's. We finished having breakfast, and your car was loaded up. We drove out to Route 30 and got out past the part that we didn't know very well. We knew it probably till about Malvern, but we didn't know it past that. But we decided that we would drive, and I guess I was driving and you were talking, and we drove to about Exton, and I think you turned to me and said, this is good. This will be good here.
I got out of the car, got on the bike. I pushed it about 10 to 15 feet away from the front bumper. And I went to throw my right leg over the bike, but I didn't realize how heavy it was with the stuff that I had packed in it. Plus, my right leg hit my sleeping bag that was bungee corded to the back of the bike, and I ended up falling, not back onto myself, but over the bike as the bike tipped over on top of me, and I laid there in the sidewalk. It was heavy enough that I had to kind of crawl out from underneath the bike. And my brother, I remember, beeped the horn continuously and then had his hands up in the air like, what the hell are you doing? I wasn't quite sure what I was doing, but I then got on and pedaled away. It was hot. I mean, sun bake you hot. I made a series of bad judgments. Of course, the whole thing now in retrospect was dumb, but I only brought with me one water bottle, which wasn't so good to bring just one water bottle. And also the fact that I wasn't quite ready for the sunshine. And I got myself a T-shirt. I cut the sleeves off the back of the thing, and I thought it would be really poetic to have Robert Frost with his "Stopping at the Woods on Snowy Evening" I had written on the back of the shirt, and miles to go before I sleep. The other thing that I only packed one of was a cassette tape, so I can pretty much to this day declare that no other human being on earth has ever listened to Corey Hart's Sunglasses at Night as many times as I have. I had made it to Chambersburg for the first night. Someone, I don't know who, this is before Google told me, it's a good idea to sleep in a graveyard because that way no one would bother you. It's the safest place to sleep. As I laid down on the grass, hoping it would cool my sunburn back, it didn't. It was hot already, and I was suffering from fever because I had the beginning of sunstroke. I still had 224 miles to go before, as Robert Frost would say, I would sleep. It wasn't until, say, 20 years later that I read that when Robert Frost wrote "in miles to go before I sleep," sleep is actually death, which is exactly how I was feeling when I thought about the fact that I still had 224 miles to go to get to Pittsburgh. Now, here is why I did it. I had failed out of 3 colleges at this point in my life, and I was determined to succeed at something. Somehow, if I could ride my bike from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh with Corey Hart and one water bottle, all the way, the 302 miles, I would have no trouble graduating from college. The director of Carnegie Mellon, a guy named Mel Shapiro, felt sorry for me because I was so old. He referred to me as a journeyman college student. He accepted me as a first semester junior. So all I had to do was 4 semesters and I would be done. And somehow, if I could get through this bike ride, get to Pittsburgh, the rest of everything else would seem to be really, really easy. Well, I made it all the way to Pittsburgh, and I got off the bike, and I proceeded to start my college career, my now 4th college career. And within a short period of time, I dropped out.